I was reading this article by George Soros, and he was talking about the fact that the dollar would be, let's say, more humble and more integrated in the other currencies in the world, and that the SDR of the IMF would be a better means to distribute credit across the globe, and that its constitution would be different. It would not be the dollar in so much percentage, but the Chinese renminbi would be included, and that will be a better arrangement according to him. But there's something strange about that, and that's the whole idea behind the whole money is credit thing. Because if money is credit, and if you can create money as an IMF, and you can of course say, well, if the IMF gives out SDRs, it actually gives out reservations made by the member states. But these member states have the central banks, and these central banks create the money out of thin air. Then there are several aspects to it that are puzzling to me, because first of all, you make credit and you give it to an African country, then you allow that African country to buy stuff with the money that they get. So you're basically saying, forcing Europe to deliver those goods, or you forcing any country that the currency is, that the Africans or some other country that's being helped receives, you're forcing them to deliver goods and services. And that's quite a powerful thing to do, of course, because in the past you would have governments that would say, okay, we're going to help another state, or maybe we're going to fight for them in a war, or we're going to make a big arrangement that we deliver steel in return for grain, just like the bartering deals between China and Russia at the moment. And now suddenly the IMF just hands out money, and the countries have to deliver for that money because it's been handed out. And the IMF is not a really democratic organization, because everybody knows that it's mainly run by the US at the moment. And then another funny thing, because if the IMF helps Africa and it loans Africa money to Africa, it usually asks for interest on that loan, so it makes money off that loan in gold, and that ends up at the IMF. That's actually the gold that they are selling now, the 403 tons of gold, 403 tons, I believe, of gold that they have is all gold that they have from the interest payment of countries like Congo or Zimbabwe, those type of countries. And now they sell it to the US or to India and to China, controlled or under the auspicion of the US, I would assume. Or they still have the 203 tons that China really wants. They have so much power, but they really don't have any any democratic representation in the wielding of that power. I don't really see that. So that's puzzling to me, and I don't think it's a good solution at all. I think the only reason why people say it's a good solution because it works for the people that are saying it, like the George Soroses of this world. They really like to have an instrument to move around goods and services around the world and let's say coerce countries to work and share their wealth with other countries, or I'm not sure, but it of course works for the big corporation, because that's also what you see. You have this climate thing in Copenhagen, and they have a big contract, a new climate arrangement, and then you see that they take out the provision that prevents countries from raising tropical rainforests to the ground. That's taken out. So you basically can, if you want to grow biofuel, you can burn down a rainforest and then grow biofuel palm oil plantations on top of it. Why? It was done because there was an arrangement between Congo and some European countries. And of course you can know exactly why that provision was taken out. It's because the European countries want to have the tropical woods from Africa, and they don't want to have so they're negotiating this climate treaty, and in the process they take out a provision that protects one of the biggest carbon sinks, which is tropical rainforest with the ground underneath. So it's trade. It's always trade, and I think it's trade in the case of the IMF and this SDR way of arranging things, and it's a way to arrange things such that people become coerced into delivering goods and services when they really don't want to, and maybe when it's even not good for their local economy. So it's a pillaging, it's an arrangement to be able to take whatever you want, whenever you want it, from whoever you want, and wield power in a very undemocratic way. So I would not really be in favor of what Soros thinks is a good solution.